Hello, this is Brenda Green, and I'd like to welcome you to Living in the Go. Today, I want to talk to you about the wealth gap, and this is just our continuing series on building generational wealth. But what is the wealth gap? Well, you hear about it all the time, whether it be on the news or different broadcasts, different platforms. People are always talking about the wealth gap and how terrible it is. Well, there are reasons that it's here, but we need to be informed. We need to understand what it is, what it does and doesn't do, and how we can overcome it. So let's get into it. So when we talk about that wealth gap, how do we fix it? Well, first we need to identify it. So there are a couple of main reasons why there's this growing gulf between the rich and everybody else. One certainly is the stagnant middle class wages and the rising wealth of America's richest families. Over this last year during COVID, the rich have gotten even richer, and the middle class, a lot of them have dropped down to the lower middle class because of it. But that stagnant wage, that's a killer because let's say 30, 40 years ago, people were making good money and they were continuing to get little raises through whatever types of jobs they had, whether it be corporations and white collar jobs or union jobs, blue collar jobs. You were guaranteed to get an increase. That doesn't happen any longer. If you think about the things that make up this gap, the first one would certainly be the minimum wage. Right now in Congress, there is this fight for trying to get at least a minimum wage of $15 an hour, which breaks out to $30,000 a year. It's not a lot of money, but there are people who make less than $10 an hour and they're trying to feed a family. So we have got to increase the minimum wage. The second thing is to expand the earned income tax. And if you don't know what that is, that's a refundable tax credit for low to moderate income working individuals, especially if they have children. That just gives them a little bit of a boost and less tax for them to have to pay. We also need to build the assets for working families. So home ownership, making it more affordable for people to find a way to save up and to buy homes, making those loans available for people who don't have a lot of money to put down, special programs to get people into homes, because again, a home helps you to build that first important step towards building wealth. Investing in high quality childcare and early education. If children have a foundation, good childcare, so parents can go to work and feel safe that their children are okay, and teaching them, because children who don't have the resources, they get behind. And that's one of the ways that we continue to have that big gap in terms of wealth. The other thing is to make the tax code more progressive. Years and years ago, the rich actually paid more in taxes. Now they're paying less. And so we need to look at that tax code and make it more progressive across the board. The next thing is to end residential segregation. You have major cities have pockets of areas where blacks live in one part of town and the whites live in another. We need to stop doing that. We need to find ways to, if we have to legislate it, to make sure the segregation within neighborhoods, within cities goes away. And we need to strengthen our safety net programs. So whether it be food programs, housing programs, all of those things to secure that people who are on the lower scale have ways to have security, have a roof over their heads, have food for them to eat. So those things are important, and those specific things are ways to help us fix that gap, to make that gap smaller. If you look at wealth inequality in this country, it's really just a definition of unequal distribution of assets among the residents here in the United States. So some people have more resources than the others. How is that even possible? What's happening to drive that? Those are the things that we need to start looking at. So now, as always, I do have my beliefs. So the wealth gap is even bigger for minorities. If you think about it, the numbers are staggering. There was a report back in 2017 that talked about that wealth gap, and it's even bigger for women. So let's say a woman owns 32 cents of every dollar that a man owns. That's huge. How do we overcome that? And if you are Black or Latina in this country, then that's even worse. It's mere pennies on the dollar. So there's got to be something done about that, because how do we again build wealth if we have these huge gaps in between the different genders, the different people of color, Those are things we need to look at. The medium or the median net worth for a Black household is $17,150. The median net worth for a white household is $171,000. That says it all. There's this huge gap, and we have got to find a way to overcome it. So, in terms of what we need to do or what we need to be thinking about, we need to invest, certainly. And I say invest like a woman, because women are willing to take more risks to look at investing as something that can help them build and grow. They are really fearless when it comes to investing. We also need to look at our credit card debt like it's the enemy and attack it with everything that you have. Every extra penny you get, make sure you're throwing it in the credit card debt. Get rid of it. And once you do not pick it up again. Knowledge is power. I say that all the time. The more we know, the better we can do. So if you understand what's keeping you at a certain level, having that knowledge will help you to come up with solutions that can help you build and grow and move to that next level. And this last thing, vote in all elections, look at voting as a tool. I know sometimes the vote is suppressed. People don't feel like voting because it doesn't make a difference. I assure you that it does. When you vote, that's power. It's a tool. Why is it that people try to prevent certain groups from voting? Because they know that there is power in voting. So you want to use that tool to get to the levels and the things that you want. So just my thoughts on it. Thank you so much for your time and attention. If you like this presentation, then hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Because again, we're spreading the word. We're spreading a movement here. We want to make sure that we are all financially savvy, that we have the things to make us healthy and wealthy and grow our wealth this year. Thanks so much and have a great day.